just pretty open and honest. I mean, there's not just a whole lot I won't tell you. I think most people appreciate the fact that you'll just be open and honest rather than, you know, putting you down by saying, well, don't ask silly questions. I would say that. If you asked something I thought was a silly question, I would just...
All right, here we go. When did you first use a flush toilet?
Don't ask silly questions. Are you serious? Well, you know, I was laughing the other night about something. I guess my aunt had a toilet and a bathroom, and we were so fascinated. You know, we were afraid. I was afraid to use it. You know, I mean, I just thought it was going to just suck us right down. It was just really weird. She also had the first television we ever saw, too.
How old were you when you first saw television?
Maybe 8.
And the toilet around the same time?
Yeah, I guess so. It was just all new. So I was thinking about if I was on the Johnny Carson show. I just got to thinking one night I was laughing about how nobody had ever asked me about how we bathed or what we did, you know, because we didn't have, you know, we made our own soap. And in the summertime, we'd go to the river. I mean, we'd just all pile in the truck or something. Of course, we had a creek, but the river was great. That was like a big bath. You know, and we would all go in swimming, and we'd wash each other's hair. And, you know, just soap was just flowing down the river. I mean, you know, that's where we bathed in the summertime. And I was making a joke about how there's so many of us, and we were so dirty that we left a ring around the little Pigeon River, you know, like a bathtub. In the wintertime, we just had a pan of water, and we'd wash down as far as possible, and we'd wash up as far as possible. And then when somebody cleared the room, we'd wash possible. So, I mean, that's the way it was.
How often did you bathe in the winter? Was it like once a week or every 2 weeks? Or?
Well, we bathed once a week whether we needed it or not, as the saying goes. Well, when I was in high school, you know, it was a big deal. I had to take a bath every night, you know, so I wanted to be clean, because the kids peed on me every night, and we all slept. There were so many of us. Well, we slept, you know, 3 and 4 in the bed. I would wash every night, and then as soon as I go to bed, the kids would wet on me, and I'd have to get up in the morning and do the same thing.
When they wet on you, though, did you get up and wipe yourself down, or you just sort of accepted it? Or just... That
was the only warm thing we knew in the wintertime. I mean, that was almost a pleasure to get peed on. It was, because it was so cold, Lord. It was as cold in the rooms where we slept as it was outside. We'd bundle up to go to bed. So we wanted to wear lipstick and stuff, and Daddy didn't want us to wear lipstick, so we didn't have money to buy makeup anyway, but we used to have this medicine, you know, called Metholate and Mercurochrome. And that's what I'd paint my lips, even as a little kid. I mean, I always wanted to wear makeup. And I'd paint my lips, and see, there wasn't nothing Daddy could do. He couldn't rub that off. You know, it stains your lips. Those little bitty bottles, it's just perfect to go around your lip line. And then I would blot it off, and then Daddy, he'd say, come here and get that lipstick off you. And I'd say, it won't come off. You know, it's my natural color, Daddy. He'd say, bull. And we would always, when we wanted eyebrows, you know, we'd get burnt matches. The matches that had been burned. And you could wet them, and you know, you could make, you know, little eyebrows and whatever. When I was a sophomore in high school, I started, the teased hair came into style, and I started doing that, and ever since then, I've done it. I just liked it, and I wore my skirts so tight I couldn't hardly wiggle in them. Even as a little bitty kid, even before I had a figure, I liked my clothes, you know, snug and tight. And people would always kid me in school about my little butt, you know, and my little blue jeans or whatever. Mama, she always understood stuff like that. If we wanted to do something, Mama just always said, you be what you are, and you don't have to worry about nothing. If you want to say something, you say it. To whoever. If you want to say something, just tell them. And I always did, and I still do.
The bright lights of the city are a pretty sight to see.
Do you like Los Angeles at all?
For a while. It's beautiful out here. And it's exciting. I really enjoy it for a week. After that, I go LA crazy. You know, I just got to get out of here. You know, it's just so crazy and wild, especially where the places I have to be and the people I have to be around when I'm out here. Most of them are so spastic and so just involved in all sorts of weird things, especially show people. You know? And I just have to get away from here. That old get home feeling.
The country in you starts.
Yeah,
to-
that old country in me says, what in the world are you doing walking on this concrete when you could be rolling in the grass, you know?